Nobody at the luxury wedding noticed the blind beggar entering through the rain, until the bride suddenly dropped her bouquet and started shaking, because the man her groom mocked in front of everybody was supposed to be dead 20 years ago. And before the wedding night ended, one powerful family would be destroyed forever. Music blasted through the luxury wedding hall while rich guests sprayed crisp money across the dance floor. Crystal chandeliers glittered above hundreds of smiling faces. At the center of everything stood Emmanuel and his bride, Sophia. Beautiful, powerful, untouchable. Cameras flashed non-stop while waiters carried expensive drinks through the crowd. Then the heavy main doors opened slowly. A blind man stepped inside with an old weathered wooden walking stick. Tap, tap, tap. Rainwater dripped from his torn clothes onto the polished marble floor. The laughter inside the hall slowly faded. Several guests stared uncomfortably. One waiter accidentally bumped into the blind man. Champagne glasses crashed violently across the floor, the sharp sound echoing through the hall. Everybody turned immediately. Emmanuel frowned. His expensive white suit shimmered beneath the wedding lights as irritation slowly twisted his face. "What is this?" he snapped. The blind man lowered his head calmly. "I am sorry," he said quietly. But Emmanuel was already angry. "Who allowed this beggar into my wedding?" A few guests laughed immediately. Phones slowly came out. Someone started recording. The blind man tightened his grip on his walking stick. Rain thundered softly outside. "I came to speak with someone," he said. Emmanuel laughed mockingly. "With who? The waiters?" More laughter spread across nearby tables. Sophia forced a small smile at first. Then the blind man spoke again, and suddenly, her smile disappeared completely. Because she recognized the voice instantly. Her fingers tightened slowly around her bouquet. No, that was impossible. The last time she heard that voice, there was fire everywhere. Sophia stared at the blind man without blinking. Her breathing became uneven. The music continued softly in the background, but everything around her suddenly felt distant. Emmanuel noticed her expression immediately. "What's wrong with you?" he whispered. But Sophia did not answer. The blind man stood silently near the entrance while guests continued murmuring around him. An elderly woman sitting near the front table slowly stood up. Her wineglass slipped from her trembling fingers. Crash. Red wine spread like blood across the white tablecloth. The old woman looked terrified. "That voice," she whispered. Emmanuel became irritated again. "Security!" Two guards immediately moved toward the blind man. But before they could lay a hand on him, Sophia shouted loudly, "Wait!" The entire hall froze. Even the musicians stopped playing. Rain hit the windows harder now. Sophia stepped forward slowly, her wedding heels clicking softly across the marble floor. The blind man lifted his face slightly toward her voice. Then Sophia noticed something near his eye. A scar, long, burned, half hidden beneath the darkness. Her heart pounded violently. She remembered that scar, a little boy screaming through thick smoke, flames swallowing a house, a woman crying in the darkness. Sophia covered her mouth instantly. "No," she whispered. The blind man remained perfectly calm. Meanwhile, Emmanuel's smile had completely disappeared. "What is going on?" he demanded. Nobody answered him. The old woman near the front suddenly started crying, and the moment she looked properly at the blind man, her knees nearly gave way beneath her. Guests rushed forward to support the trembling old woman, but she pushed them away immediately. Her eyes remained fixed on the blind stranger. "It cannot be," she whispered emotionally. The hall filled with uneasy murmurs. Phones continued recording from every direction now. Sophia stared at the blind man with growing fear. "You know him?" Emmanuel asked her sharply. Still no answer. The blind man slowly removed his dark glasses. A deep, jagged burn scar stretched beside his damaged eye. Gasps spread quietly across nearby tables. Sophia stepped backward, emotionally. The old woman suddenly pointed toward the blind man with shaking fingers. "That boy survived the fire." The room became deathly silent. Emmanuel frowned deeply. "What fire?" The blind man finally spoke again. "The fire your family buried 20 years ago." Those words changed everything. Sophia slowly turned toward Ruth, Emmanuel's mother. The elegant woman sitting near the wedding stage had suddenly become pale. Fear entered her eyes for the first time that night. "Stop this nonsense," she said quickly, but her voice trembled badly. The blind man tightened his grip on his walking stick. Tap, tap, tap. Slowly he walked toward the center of the wedding hall. Rain thundered outside while cameras followed his every movement. Then he reached inside his old coat. Guests leaned forward anxiously. And when he finally removed the burnt photograph, Sophia stopped breathing. Because standing inside the picture were Emmanuel's parents, the old housemaid, and a young child with the exact same scar. The blind man lifted his face slowly. Then he spoke the words that froze the entire wedding hall. "My name is Daniel Okafor." Heavy silence filled the room, and Emmanuel's mother nearly collapsed. The wedding hall no longer felt like a celebration. Fear had replaced the music. Guests whispered nervously, while cameras continued recording every second. Emmanuel looked completely confused. "You know this man?" he asked his mother again. But she could not answer. Her hands trembled around her wine glass. Daniel stood calmly in the center of the hall. Rainwater dripped slowly from his torn sleeves onto the marble floor. Sophia stared at the burnt photograph in disbelief. She recognized the mansion in the background immediately. Emmanuel stepped closer angrily. "This is some kind of scam." Daniel smiled faintly. "A scam?" He raised the photograph slightly. "Your family destroyed innocent lives for money." The old housemaid suddenly burst into tears. Guests turned toward her immediately. "For years," she cried, "I wanted to tell the truth." Emmanuel's mother snapped instantly. "Be quiet." But panic had already taken over her face. Sophia slowly stepped away from Emmanuel. The movement was small, but everyone noticed it. Daniel faced the crowd calmly. "My father worked for this family. Then one night, they accused him of stealing inheritance documents." The hall became quiet again. "He was innocent." The old maid nodded painfully, tears rolling down her wrinkled cheeks. Sophia looked toward Emmanuel's mother with horror. "What did your family do?" Nobody answered. Then Daniel spoke softly. "They burned our house before sunrise." A woman near the back covered her mouth. Another guest lowered his phone slowly. For the first time that night, the wealthy family no longer looked powerful. They looked dangerous. Sophia's breathing became heavier. Fragments of old memories flooded her mind. Smoke, flames, a little boy screaming, someone carrying her through the darkness. She suddenly remembered something else, a necklace. Her eyes widened instantly. Slowly, she touched the chain around her neck. Daniel noticed immediately, and for the first time, raw emotion appeared on his face. Pain, recognition, hope. The old maid stepped forward emotionally. "She still has it." Sophia removed the necklace carefully. A small silver pendant rested in her shaking hands. Daniel's damaged eye filled with tears immediately. "That belonged to my sister." The room exploded with confusion. "What?" Emmanuel turned toward Sophia in disbelief. Daniel stared at her silently. When the fire started, my little sister disappeared. Sophia's heart pounded violently. "No." The old maid nodded through tears. "You were adopted after the fire." Sophia stepped backward emotionally. Her entire world suddenly felt unstable. "You're lying." But even she no longer believed those words. Emmanuel grabbed her arm desperately. "Sophia, don't listen to this madness." She pulled away immediately. The distance between them grew larger now. Daniel lowered his head briefly. "For 20 years, I searched for my family." Outside, thunder shook the night sky violently. Then Emmanuel's father entered the wedding hall, and the moment he saw Daniel, the color disappeared from his face entirely. The massive wedding hall became completely silent. Emmanuel's father stood frozen near the entrance. Rain blew softly through the open doors behind him. His eyes remained locked on Daniel as fear slowly swallowed his face. Daniel lifted his chin slightly. "You remember me?" It was not a question. The older man's breathing became uneven. Guests exchanged nervous looks. Sophia stared between both men, trying desperately to understand the truth destroying her wedding. Emmanuel walked toward his father slowly. "Dad, what is happening?" But the older man ignored him completely. His eyes never left Daniel. The old housemaid suddenly wiped her tears and pointed toward Emmanuel's parents. "You told everybody the boy died in the fire." Daniel tightened his grip on his walking stick. "You made sure nobody searched for me." Emmanuel's mother stood up immediately. "That's enough." Her voice cracked loudly through the hall. "We gave that boy's father everything." Daniel laughed bitterly. "You gave him death." The words hit the room heavily. Sophia looked sick now. The silver necklace still trembled inside her hand. Emmanuel turned toward her desperately. "You can't actually believe this?" But Sophia could no longer look at him the same way, because every lie inside the room was beginning to sound true. Daniel slowly faced Emmanuel's father again. "My father kept copies of the inheritance documents. He planned to expose everything." Sophia whispered softly, "What inheritance?" The old maid answered before anyone else could speak. "The Okafor family owned this land before Emmanuel's parents stole it." Gasps spread across the hall again. Daniel lifted the burnt photograph slowly. "My father trusted them, and they destroyed us for it." Emmanuel shook his head repeatedly. No, this cannot be true." But his father suddenly dropped heavily into a chair. Nobody inside the hall spoke again. The silence alone felt like a confession. Rain crashed harder against the wedding hall windows, while guests stared at the once powerful family with growing disgust. Then, Sophia asked the question nobody wanted answered. "Who carried me out of the fire?" Heavy silence filled the hall. Daniel lowered his head slowly, then answered quietly, "My father." Sophia's knees nearly gave way beneath her. Sophia held the silver necklace tightly, while memories crashed through her mind like broken glass. Smoke filling the air, a man shouting her name, strong arms carrying her through the flames. Tears rolled slowly down her face. "My father saved you before the roof collapsed," Daniel said quietly. The wedding hall remained painfully silent. Sophia looked toward Emmanuel's parents with disbelief. "You knew?" Neither of them answered immediately, and that answer alone frightened her. The old housemaid stepped closer carefully. When the police arrived, they lied about everything. Daniel lowered his head briefly. "They said my father started the fire himself." Emmanuel rubbed his forehead anxiously. "This is insane." But his voice no longer sounded confident. Guests had stopped smiling long ago. Now they watched the family with open suspicion instead. Outside, journalists began gathering near the mansion gates after hearing rumors online. Camera lights flashed through the rain. Sophia suddenly faced Emmanuel's mother directly. "You let me grow up believing strangers were my parents." The older woman's eyes filled with tears. "We were protecting you." Daniel answered coldly, "You were protecting yourselves." Those words landed heavily. Emmanuel's father slowly stood from the chair again. For a moment he looked 20 years older. "We made mistakes," he whispered weakly. Daniel's expression hardened instantly. "Mistakes?" His walking stick struck the marble floor sharply. "Tap. You stole our inheritance. Tap. You burned our home. Tap." My father died screaming inside that fire. Several guests lowered their phones uncomfortably. Even they no longer wanted to witness the pain too closely. Sophia covered her mouth again, the image of flames refusing to leave her mind now. Then Daniel reached slowly into his coat once more, and this time he removed a folded document. The moment Emmanuel's father saw it, real panic entered his eyes. Rain hammered the mansion windows while Daniel held the folded document tightly in his hand. The wedding hall felt colder now, smaller, like the walls themselves were hiding secrets. Emmanuel's father stared at the paper with fear spreading openly across his face. Sophia noticed immediately. "What is that?" Daniel unfolded the document slowly. Old signatures covered the yellowed paper, official stamps, property records, inheritance transfer forms. The old housemaid began crying again. "That is the original ownership document." Gasps spread quietly across the room. Daniel lifted the paper slightly. My father hid copies before the fire. Emmanuel stepped closer quickly. "That proves nothing." But even he sounded uncertain now. Daniel turned toward him calmly. "It proves your family built their empire on stolen land." Those words hit Emmanuel harder than before, because deep down, he was starting to believe them. Sophia stared at the document with trembling eyes. Everything around her suddenly felt fake. The wedding decorations, the luxury hall, the smiling family portraits hanging nearby, all built on lies. Daniel carefully touched the edge of the burned photograph in his pocket. "My father trusted your parents like family, but greed changes people." Emmanuel's mother suddenly broke down. "We had debts," she cried. Guests turned toward her immediately. "We were going to lose everything." Daniel answered quietly, "So you chose to destroy us instead." No one defended her this time. Outside the mansion gates, journalists pushed against security barriers while live streams spread across social media. Inside the hall, the rich family's perfect image collapsed piece by piece. Then Sophia looked toward Emmanuel with tears in her eyes, and for the first time that night, she removed her engagement ring. The engagement ring rested silently inside Sophia's trembling palm. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed loudly. Rain continued crashing outside, while camera flashes flickered through the mansion windows. Emmanuel stared at the ring in disbelief. "Sophia." His voice sounded weaker now. She looked at him with tears filling her eyes. "I don't even know who you are anymore." Those words cut deeper than public humiliation because they were true. Emmanuel stepped closer desperately. "You can't end everything because of something my parents did." Daniel lowered his head briefly, then answered softly, "But you still enjoyed what they stole." Silence followed immediately, heavy silence. Emmanuel opened his mouth to argue, but no words came out. because he remembered mocking poor workers, insulting street beggars, laughing at struggling people, and treating kindness like weakness. The wealth had shaped him, too. Sophia slowly removed her wedding veil. The soft fabric slipped onto the marble floor beside broken glass and scattered flowers. The image alone felt heartbreaking. Guests lowered their eyes awkwardly. Nobody expected a wedding to collapse this publicly. Emmanuel's mother suddenly rushed toward Sophia emotionally. "Please don't do this." But Sophia stepped backward immediately. "You lied to me my whole life." The older woman froze, tears streaming down her face, uncontrollably now. "We loved you. You stole me." The sentence destroyed whatever dignity remained. Even Emmanuel's father lowered his head in shame. Daniel stood quietly near the center of the hall while reporters continued gathering outside. Then one guest slowly began clapping. Everybody turned immediately. It was an elderly man near the back, his expression carrying deep disgust. "Truth finally entered this house," he said. Another guest stood, then another. Soon dozens of people quietly began leaving the wedding hall one after another, not in celebration, in disappointment. The powerful family was collapsing publicly, and nobody wanted to stand beside them anymore. The wedding hall slowly emptied around Emmanuel's family. Luxury guests who once laughed and danced now walked away quietly, avoiding eye contact. The music had stopped completely. Only the sound of rain remained. Sophia stood near the broken stage, clutching the silver necklace tightly. Her wedding dress no longer looked beautiful. Now it looked tragic. Emmanuel watched people abandon his family one by one. Business partners, friends, important politicians, even close relatives. Nobody wanted to be connected to the scandal. Daniel remained calm through all of it, but inside him, years of buried pain were finally rising to the surface. The old housemaid suddenly looked toward Emmanuel's father again. "There is still more." Fear instantly returned to the older man's face. Emmanuel frowned. "What else?" The woman wiped tears from her cheeks slowly. The fire was never supposed to kill Daniel's father. The room became completely still again. Sophia looked up sharply. Daniel tightened his grip on his walking stick. "What are you saying?" The old maid pointed toward Emmanuel's mother with trembling fingers. "She only wanted the documents destroyed." Emmanuel's mother burst into tears immediately. "I didn't know the fire would spread." Daniel stared at her silently as the woman collapsed onto her knees. "We panicked. We thought everyone escaped." Her makeup ran down her face, while cameras near the windows continued flashing. Daniel's voice turned colder now. "My father begged for help that night." Nobody spoke. The old maid nodded painfully. "I heard him screaming." Sophia closed her eyes immediately. The image became unbearable. Daniel slowly faced Emmanuel's parents again. "For 20 years, you watched me suffer in the streets." Tap, tap, tap. His walking stick echoed softly as he moved closer. "And you said nothing." Emmanuel's father suddenly covered his face with both hands. The shame had finally broken him. Outside the mansion gates, police sirens began approaching through the storm. Blue police lights flashed through the rain outside the mansion gates. The wedding hall glowed red and blue beneath the storm. Nobody spoke as the sirens grew louder. Emmanuel's mother remained on her knees near the ruined wedding stage, her expensive dress soaked with tears. For the first time that night, she no longer looked powerful. She looked defeated. Police officers entered the hall carefully, while reporters crowded behind security barriers outside. Camera flashes burst through the windows non-stop. Daniel stood silently in the center of the room. The old housemaid lowered her head painfully. Sophia stared at the woman who raised her, and suddenly she no longer saw a mother, only a stranger built from lies. One police officer stepped forward. "Mrs. Adeyemi," he said calmly, "you need to come with us." The older woman began shaking uncontrollably. Then she looked directly at Daniel. For several seconds, nobody moved. Finally, her voice broke. "I never meant for your father to die." Daniel's face remained expressionless, but his damaged eyes slowly filled with tears. The woman cried harder now. "We only wanted the documents." Sophia covered her mouth emotionally. Emmanuel stood frozen beside the broken wedding cake, unable to process the destruction around him. The old woman continued speaking through tears. "Your father threatened to expose us. We were desperate." Daniel answered quietly, "So you burned innocent people alive." The sentence crushed the room. Emmanuel's father lowered his head completely. Defeat surrounded him now. The police officer slowly removed handcuffs, and the sound alone echoed painfully through the silent wedding hall. The handcuffs closed around Emmanuel's mother's wrists with a sharp, metallic click. The sound shattered whatever dignity remained inside the wedding hall. Reporters outside pushed harder against the gates, shouting questions through the rain. "Did your family murder Daniel's father? Did you steal the inheritance? Was the bride kidnapped after the fire?" Inside the hall, Emmanuel stood completely still. His entire world had collapsed in one night. His wealth, his family name, his wedding. Everything now looked rotten. Sophia slowly stepped away from him again, the distance between them feeling permanent. "Sophia," he whispered weakly, but she could not even look at him. Too much pain stood between them. Daniel remained calm beside the ruined wedding stage. Years of suffering had hardened him long ago. Emmanuel suddenly turned toward him emotionally. "I swear to you, I never knew." Daniel studied him quietly, while rainwater dripped softly from his old coat onto the marble floor. Then he answered, "But you still became the man they raised." The words landed heavily because Emmanuel knew they were true. Memories flooded his mind painfully. Mocking workers, humiliating beggars, insulting poor people, laughing at suffering. He had inherited more than wealth from his parents. He inherited their arrogance too. Emmanuel slowly dropped to his knees. Nobody rushed to help him. Not his friends, not his relatives, not even Sophia. The hall that once celebrated him now watched him with silent disappointment. Sophia carefully removed her wedding heels and placed them beside the broken stage. "This wedding is over." Her voice remained soft, but final. Emmanuel lowered his head completely, and for the first time in his life he truly understood humiliation. Hours later, most of the guests had already gone home. The storm outside slowly weakened, leaving only a soft rain against the windows. The wedding hall looked destroyed. Broken flowers covered the marble floor, and half-melted candles leaned sideways across empty tables. Workers quietly removed decorations in uncomfortable silence. Daniel sat alone near the broken piano, his walking stick resting beside him. For the first time that night, he looked tired. Not angry, not victorious, just exhausted. Sophia slowly walked toward him, her wedding dress dragging softly across the floor. Neither of them spoke immediately. So much truth had arrived too quickly. Sophia finally sat beside him quietly. "I used to dream about fire," she whispered. Daniel turned his face slightly toward her voice. "I used to dream about finding you." Those words nearly broke her again. She looked down at the silver necklace in her hand. "For years, I thought these memories were nightmares." Daniel smiled faintly. They were memories. Silence settled gently between them, but this silence felt different from earlier. Not fear, not tension, grief. The grief of stolen years. Sophia wiped tears from her face, slowly. They took everything from you. Daniel lowered his head. They took everything from both of us. Outside, police vehicles slowly left the mansion with Emmanuel's parents inside, their blue lights fading into the distance. Sophia watched quietly through the rain-covered windows, then asked softly, "How did you survive?" Daniel leaned back carefully against the damaged piano. "After the fire, people thought I died too. A man found me near the river." Sophia listened silently. "I lost my sight months later." Pain flickered briefly across his face, but I never forgot their voices. The wedding hall became quiet again. Then Daniel smiled sadly. For years, revenge was the only thing keeping me alive. Sophia looked toward him slowly. And now, Daniel turned his damaged eye toward the brightening sky outside. Now, he no longer knew who he was without the pain. Morning sunlight slowly entered the ruined wedding hall. The storm had finally passed, but the damage remained everywhere. Broken champagne glasses glittered across the floor beside crushed flowers and torn decorations. Workers moved quietly through the hall, avoiding eye contact with Emmanuel. He still sat alone near the destroyed wedding stage. The same guests who once praised him had disappeared before sunrise. No friends, no relatives, no loyal business partners, only silence. Outside the mansion gates, angry crowds had gathered after the scandal exploded online overnight. News reporters shouted questions nonstop while cameras pointed toward the mansion entrance. The wealthy Adeyemi family exposed. Blind Beggar reveals 20-year crime. Luxury wedding destroyed by hidden truth. Inside the hall, Emmanuel looked smaller now. Not rich, not powerful, just broken. Daniel slowly approached with his walking stick. Tap, tap, tap. The sound echoed softly through the empty hall. Emmanuel lifted his head weakly, dark circles sitting beneath his eyes. For the first time in his life, he truly looked afraid. Daniel stopped a few steps away from him. Neither man spoke immediately. Then Emmanuel whispered, "I lost everything." Daniel's expression remained calm. Slowly, he answered, "My family lost everything 20 years ago." Those words settled heavily between them. Emmanuel lowered his eyes in shame. Sophia watched silently from nearby, pain still living inside her face, but now there was clarity too. The lies were finally dead. Daniel looked around the ruined wedding hall one last time. The luxury decorations, the shattered stage, the broken image of perfection, everything built from stolen lives, had finally collapsed. Then Daniel spoke quietly. "The poor man you mocked tonight was the owner of everything your family stole." Emmanuel covered his face completely, and this time, nobody felt sorry for him. The wedding hall stood quiet beneath the soft morning light. Workers slowly cleared broken decorations from the floor, while reporters continued shouting outside the mansion gates. The celebration was over. Only the ruins remained. Sophia stood near the windows, holding the silver necklace tightly. The expensive wedding dress no longer mattered now. It felt heavy, like a memory she wanted to leave behind forever. Across the hall, Emmanuel remained seated beside the destroyed wedding cake. Nobody stood beside him anymore. Not his friends, not his family, not even the people who once feared him. His world had collapsed publicly, and there was no money powerful enough to rebuild it. Daniel stood near the entrance quietly, with his walking stick resting beside him. For years, he had imagined this moment differently. He imagined satisfaction, victory, relief. But revenge did not feel the way he expected. It only felt tiring. The old housemaid slowly approached him with tears in her eyes. "Your father would be proud of you," she whispered. Daniel lowered his head silently. For several seconds, he simply listened to the soft sounds around him. Workers cleaning glass, distant police sirens, rainwater dripping outside, and reporters arguing near the gates. Life was moving again. Sophia walked toward him slowly. "What happens now?" she asked softly. Daniel looked toward the sunlight entering the ruined hall. "I learn how to live without hatred." The words carried no anger, only honesty. Sophia's eyes filled gently with tears again. For 20 years, both of them had lived inside lies created by greed and fear. Now the truth had finally set them free. Daniel picked up his walking stick carefully. Tap, tap, tap. He walked slowly toward the mansion doors, and Sophia followed beside him quietly. Behind them, Emmanuel remained completely alone inside the empty wedding hall, surrounded by ruined flowers, ruined lies, and the ruins of arrogance. Outside, crowds and cameras waited for more scandal, but Daniel ignored all of them. He lifted his face toward the warm morning sunlight instead. For the first time in many years, freedom finally felt real. And as he disappeared beyond the mansion gates with Sophia beside him, the city whispered forever about the wedding where a blind beggar destroyed a powerful family with nothing but the truth.